We're back. The Eric and Tony Show, episode 39, with our very special guest, Ben Gonzalez.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming back. What is this your second or third time?
Second time.
He's
second
the second repeat
second time customer.
guest.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm the second repeat guest.
Yeah, Laz was the first repeat guest.
All right.
So good company.
Shout out Laz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Laz, my nephew's baseball coach.
Yeah.
Coach Laz.
If you're not first,
Gives
you're
back
last.
to the community, you guys.
So do you work in the, well, we talked about what you do for work, day job wise, but you're helping out the community.
Dude, I'm helping
Saving
him out
lives.
too much right now. I'm tired as hell, bro.
Helping out too much.
Dude, yeah, I've worked like almost 2 weeks straight. And I got the special coming out like in a week. And it's like, I haven't focused much on the promoting of it or anything. So thank you for having me.
That's
on
why he's here, everybody.
Yeah,
So,
comedy
We have
special.
such a huge
so
following.
we can talk, you guys. I'm tapping into the hot electric Eric and Tony show.
This
audience,
podcast is
you
a
guys.
make or break for your career, so I'm glad you chose wisely.
Yeah.
Came here.
Remember the Simpsons episode when they have the barbershop quartet?
Yeah.
The B Sharps, and they're doing like their first concerts at Moe's, and it's just Barney there.
Yeah.
That's how I feel like sometimes in the comment section. Yeah, I'm gonna go on a bunch of podcasts to promote this and just like roast the podcast.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's my plan.
Start roasting us.
I already have.
We have
bro.
tons of things
We
that's
got
wrong with this
glassware,
podcast.
fucking logos, 0 followers.
Nah, man.
Got
No,
more
but
merch
it's,
than-
but
We got
you-
one. We got Ben.
Yeah.
The clips are good though, man. Everything's solid, man. You guys got this thing.
Well, you
thing.
vetted it. If you're gonna go on a promotional fucking run, through
And this is
your
the first
special,
one.
exactly.
This is the first stop in my
Yeah.
junket.
Yeah,
You know
you
what I
gotta
mean?
set the tone.
Yeah.
It's a learning experience.
Yeah, you guys are like Byron Allen entertainers.
Yeah.
Like, let's talk about your movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Siskel and Ebert of podcasts or something.
Yeah.
We were there during the filming. We gave it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. That's true. We were.
Special, yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun, man. Yeah, it was a while ago, dude. And it's been like a long process. Like
That was at the West Side Comedy Theater.
West Side Comedy Theater. That
Yeah.
was our home club.
Yeah.
Up until like very recently.
Mhm.
We were doing a monthly show there. It was a fucking blast. We had some fucking
Yeah.
epic shows, man.
Now the new home club is the Penny Cash Studios.
Next
right?
door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right
Yeah.
here.
Next
Keep it in
door.
house.
Next
Keep it-
door in this entertainment complex.
Entertainment
Yeah.
complex.
Petty Cash Studios.
I'm what some people
sound
call the
stages.
Sunset
Petty
Strip.
Cash Worldwide.
Yep. Petty Cash Empire, guys. We were
Yeah.
from the
Petty
beginning
Cash.
of that too.
Yeah.
Huh?
Hell yeah.
Yeah, when we first met Mark, he was just a guy with a camera out in fucking Puente Hills.
Yeah. Guy with the camera in a dream.
Yeah. And I was like, I see more of this. I see
Yeah.
you making a podcast studio, several of them.
Got the camera.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
man. Mark was just filming our shows when we were like scrambling because it was like the first shows after
I'm just
the
hanging out in the
pandemic,
parking
dude.
lot. I'm like, he's like, I got cameras. I'm like, I got jokes. And then, next thing you know.
Yeah, that's how we knew him because he was Craig's cousin.
Yeah.
Shout out Craig.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Craig.
Yeah, dude. Craig Conant.
So what do you
Yeah.
got? What do you got on your new special that people can like any little teasers or topics that you might want to like float out
the
there?
whole special basically. See, here's the thing. Like my whole comedy style before this special was I just had like a lot of jokes
Mhm.
about a bunch of different topics, different kind of jokes. Like some like quick stuff. I used to do a bunch of like one-liners and stuff, and then I started getting into like more like longer stories and everything.
Yeah.
Is,
And everything's just kind of like absurd, misdirection, things like that. Nothing was really like personal.
Mhm.
And other like comics that were good friends of mine would like tell me like I've got to start to write more personal things.
Mhm.
And then once I had the opportunity to do a special, it was like I had like 30, 40 minutes of all those jokes that like are always killing for me.
Yeah.
But there wasn't anything about
Depth.
me.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything like cohesive to
Yeah.
it, really. You know what I mean? It was just like a bunch of jokes, and that was like
Right.
my style. Like I was used to. So I like changed how I wrote, like to write like at least like half of this special.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And a lot of it was stuff that I came up with like in the year before this, and just worked on it on shows like and on the road and shit. Just leading up to it, which is how a lot of people do their specials like after the first one.
Yeah.
But yeah, usually you won't like for your first one, like just write it right before you do it.
Did you find yourself like taking some material that you had before and just kind of elaborating on it and making it into more of a longer form story or a joke?
Kind of like tying it into the theme of the rest of the stuff that I was writing.
Yeah.
I was able to do that because I had like a lot of big changes in my life recently, like in like the last like few years. I got 2 sons. I wound up getting full custody of them and have them live with me full time.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. So that's like kind of like the background theme of the special. It's called Full Custody, but it's Fool, FOOL, because it's always like I'm the fool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fool
It's basically all about me.
Yeah.
So that's what that's like what the first like half of the special is all like material based on that, because also like that's the thing that's like unique to me that I haven't really seen much else in comedy, like other comics that are like fucking dads that are like full on single dads that have their kids all the time and are doing like material about that and how hard that is trying to raise kids now. You know how much of an issue childcare is, dude. How much you have to rely on other people and like rely on your parents, and what it's like trying to parent with your parents. There, you know what I mean, and dealing with them. And then at the same time, my parents were also taking care of my grandparents. You know what I mean? So it's like it's a whole thing, dude. And I was able to pull other jokes that I kind of wanted to do anyways, and like go through other material I already had and see like ways I could tweak it and tie it into that theme. You know what I mean? So like it's a half-hour special. The first half is like all like the new stuff that I wrote for it, and then the second half is like stuff that I had been doing that I wanted to do in it, and was able like to put it in with it. So it does all stay cohesive, and I'm happy about that, man. I'm proud of that.
Yeah,
that was hard to do.
That's definitely not something easy to do. And like as a fan of watching both you guys, like you know, on your journeys of your comedy careers, that's something that always like stands out to me whenever I hear you guys actually talk about things that are personal to you that I know are going on in your lives. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want to hear about. I want to hear about like those things that are unique to both of you guys. That is like your own experience. It's your own personal take on it that no one else has this point of view on it. And it just comes across like that too, like very genuine and very like, oh, like it's a joke. Like I know there's going to be something funny about it, but it keeps me intrigued because I know it's like a part of you that you're like exposing. Like, it's a vulnerability that you're letting everybody in on. So you're kind of like scoot at the end of your chair a little bit when you kind of know those like, oh, he's talking about something real,
Yeah. And it gave me like also like another way to connect with the audience in like ways that I wasn't doing before. Where there were other people who were like, younger parents and shit and single parents, or just, navigating the same things now, and they hadn't heard, a comic talk about it.
Right.
So yeah, so that was cool. And I don't want to say it's something that I wasn't doing before, because I was doing stuff where people hadn't heard, jokes like that or about those topics, but it wasn't things like where they were relating to it because it was a personal thing from me that they're relating to.
Yeah.
And that's cool. Like,
for sure.
I'm glad that this gave me the chance to do that.
Yeah, that's great. I can't wait to see the special again, knowing of your mindset, kind of like of what you went to approach this special. It's kind of cool to hear the insight behind that. So I have those conversations with Tony all the time too about like expose your vulnerabilities and talk about things that you talk about in private. Like
dude, he's been totally doing that like in the last year, because the same shit like we had
exactly
everything like change in our lives kind of like in the last like few years. You know what I mean?
But I do agree with you on that. There's like definitely like a different like resonating with that type of shit where it's just like super intimate and then vulnerable too. And the vulnerability, I think, is really what sells most stuff is, unique take, that kind of shit, and then also just really being fucking like, hey, this is some shit. It's, tragedy plus time equals comedy, obviously. And like for some people like myself, like when all my shit kind of went down, I was talking about that shit right away. You know what I mean? Like, and then I had to kind of dial back and kind of filter and make sure, I want to see how I want to do things. But like, I've always been like, oh, I got to get on stage and, kind of fucking like wrap my brain around this. Cause if for whatever reason, like I feel my most self on stage, I guess.
Yeah. No, same here. And it's funny too, because like people get on me about that, like you don't write personal things, or like you were talking about my day job a little bit, like write about your day job and stuff. And I couldn't, because people say that's unique, your point of view, which is true, but I couldn't find things that I thought were like funny about it for everyone. I knew it was funny for me and funny for like my coworkers, but I didn't like think that would work to open that up. And then ironically, like the only joke I do about being a paramedic is like my only clip that hit over 1 million.
Really?
You know what I mean? Yeah. And then it was a bunch of fucking like paramedics and healthcare people that were in it, loved it, and were commenting on it and shit. And like, I don't put that in the special. Yeah. Hilarious, dude.
But again, it goes to show like that personal aspect, the things that you like overlook because you're like, oh, it's just my part of my life
yeah,
that no one gives a
totally.
shit about. Like that's the shit that everybody wants to hear about, is that shit that you don't care about, which is ironic, you know, like for,
and it's kind of like the
audience.
arc of being a comedian too, and like working through, you know, your material, like your growth as a comic, is when you can get to the personal stuff and make it good,
right,
and make it funny. Because some people do like come out the gate with just all personal shit, and
right.
so like you're just kind of like dumping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just a trauma dump. Like this is like therapy. And it's like, you're not,
that's a good point
yet, dude, you know?
Yeah. That's a very good point.
And like, I just wanted to like always focus on jokes.
Yeah.
Like, I was way into writing jokes. And that's what I love doing about this shit, is just fucking telling jokes, even if they're fucking stupid. Like, really, the stupider the better.
Right.
To me.
Right.
Because there's something about that too, like where you get somebody to love a joke that they don't want to love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where they're like, fuck,
the one-liner
this is
shit,
bad, but you're right.
Yeah.
You know, I do like this. You know what I mean? It's kind of funny to me because it's like a double visceral reaction.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you're like groaning and laughing, and you can't control either thing. I don't know. That's always been like what's cool about like comedy to me.
Yeah.
Like making people laugh is fucking cool, because it's like you can't fake that shit.
Yeah.
You can't control it. It just happens or it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And that was what was always crazy to me about like when I watch like musicians, because it's like people are listening, but like I would die, like, because I don't know if you like this shit or not.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like I don't know the reaction. Like I need to know,
dude,
how you feel about what I'm doing.
Well, and I think that's so relatable as for you guys as comics. Like it relates to everybody else, just non-comics, where everybody's made someone laugh before, and that feels great. That's like the best feeling in the world. Like, and everybody can relate to that. So like they know what you're experiencing, but on like a bigger level, you know, where you're getting multiple groups of people laughing at the same time. Like that's got to feel pretty crazy, you know?
It's weird, man. Cause it's like, it's different. Like getting people to laugh in a room, like regular people, like in a conversation or at work or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's cool to do that. But then it's like, I mean, you know, dude, like it's like it's a different challenge, man. Just go on stage. Like, especially when it's a room full of people that aren't expecting you, aren't there for you, don't know, and you get a chance to like win them over.
That is the coolest thing about stand-up.
And you really have like a minute or two to do it, dude.
Yeah.
Even if you're up there for 10 minutes, nobody's fucking with you for 10 whole minutes if they didn't like you in the first 2 minutes. They're like, fuck this guy.
That's true.
They get on their phone and everything, you know, like they don't care, dude. So if you got like that first minute or two to actually get these people on your side, and then you can win them over to like your point of view, to where they're agreeing with you and they're having like involuntary reactions to how they feel about what you're doing. And you make that happen within like 5 or 10 minutes. Like that's fucking rad, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's fucking cool. Like all I did was talk.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You had no idea what I was going to do or say or what to expect from me. And this worked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that shit's fucking fun, man.
Making people happy, making lives better. Like you know,
yeah,
I would say 99% of the time, like you're getting the majority of the audience is walking away like in a better mood than when, you know, before having seen a stand-up show.
Yeah, absolutely,
you know,
man.
Even if it's bad, it's still fun. They're still like, you know, they appreciate an effort, you know.
I tell people that all the time, and especially as, you know, me and him produced and promoted shows for a long time.
Yeah.
That's like the best shit you can do almost with your night. You know what I mean? If you go to like a good comedy show, like with your friends, if you guys don't know what to do, like, you know, you're listening at home, all the listeners of the Eric and Tony show, listen at home across the country. With like your choices, like to go to dinner or like to, you know, go to a club or something.
Yeah.
You know, going to a comedy show, if it's a good show, I got to make that disclaimer, because a shitty show, fucking nobody wants to be at a shitty show. It's a disaster. Yeah. But a good show, it's like, you're laughing, you're having fun, you've got shit to talk about. You can tell other people about the comedian you saw. Oh, you got to see this guy's clip. You got to see this joke. Now you're spreading the content.
Right.
Other people are like, oh yeah, he showed me this. Oh, this is good. You know what I mean? It's like that goodwill lasts beyond, you know, that night.
Yeah, you can't really do that with like music. You can't go see like a band and then like relay that to your friend like as accurate as you could with a comic.
Singing lyrics. To
yeah,
your
like
buddies.
it was even about, you know, like you can't like recreate that,
Yeah,
but you can.
And you just won't have the same reaction anyways. Dude.
Yeah,
If, like you're really moved by something that you hear live, it's like you're like, okay, I want to hear that in my car or something. You know?
Yeah,
like, kind of, you know, compared to like
it's harder
how something hits you, like when you're like, oh man, I fuck with you, dude. You
know?
That shit's cool, man. Like they'll fucking. Maybe not in LA, but it's even better. Like, when you go on the road and stuff, like, you know, smaller towns, don't have comedy clubs, you're performing at like a restaurant,
Yeah.
it'll be fucking packed out. Cause for that town, that's the comedy club, dude.
Yeah.
And like they're amazing audiences. They love it. They buy all your t-shirts and shit afterwards, man. It's fucking great, dude. And it's all like people like, yeah, they don't know who I am or anything. They just want a show. They're giving me a chance.
Right.
And
They appreciate the effort. They appreciate you coming out. It's cool to see like little towns. Like I was just in Joshua Tree and there was like this little venue out in the middle of fucking nowhere. And we were like, oh, we're just going to go and grab a beer. And there was like some band that kind of had a couple hits like back in the day and they were supposed to be playing that night. Oh, yeah. And we go there and it was fucking packed. Yeah. It was a 3-hour wait to get in there. And I was like,
like Pioneer Town?
I think so.
Pappy and
Pappy, yeah.
Dude, that place is lit.
I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, man. I'm like, it was like, I was like, there's no way we're getting in here. First off, it's a 3-hour wait. Yeah, and like, insane. Yeah, it was not. And it's like in the middle of nowhere. Like, but everybody was coming out of the woodwork for this place. I'm like, oh, like that's what it must be like.
You got to wait those little point from
kind of venues around the country, you know?
Ridiculous.
Yeah, we're just trying to go there to have dinner. And I'm like, you imagine ordering food at that place? You wanted your food today? Like, you wanted to be to like.
That place legit, dude. They have like Queens of the Stone Age play there and shit.
Yeah, I knew nothing about it, and it's just like this little spot. Like it was just crazy busy though. But
yeah, man.
But those are like little gemstones. I'm sure there's like a billion of those all across the country that are just like
all over California. Dude. Yeah, all over the country, man. Arizona, like, Nevada.
Yeah, if you can get into that circuit, it's like okay, I can see how you like make a living doing this, and fucking there's tons of venues everywhere.
Yeah, it's just with me. That's kind of like what the special is about too. It's like I got my kids all the time.
Yeah.
So that's like the weird thing with my like comedy career and like career arc is like when I was starting, I didn't have them full time. You know what I mean? Like they, you know, with their mom all the time.
You're starting to have kids.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I did have kids.
Yeah, okay.
I started when my oldest son was born.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was 2011.
Yeah.
But like comedy, you have to perform, dude.
Yeah.
Especially when you're starting out. Like the only way you get better is telling jokes in front of people, man. You can't tell jokes in your room.
Plus, you got to stay in the scene to be relevant, because that's the thing. Is you fucking go off the radar for a bit. You know, you have a little trauma in your life, and you're not around for a second. It's like, oh, hey, you still doing this? Like, yeah, motherfucker. Like, I have actual like real people problems and shit. Like, I'm not worried about being fucking like snubbed by a booker. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What's the longest both of you guys have like not done comedy? Like
pandemic, obviously. That was like I think it was from March to whenever we did that first like COVID show. Like.
It was like a year.
No, dude, it wasn't a year because it was March. We started doing the fucking show at the Benediction in like July or August of that year. It might have been like 6 months. 2020? It was 2020, yeah.
And we did the Benediction shows?
We were back in business and we did.
It was September then, I think.
Might have been September.
Yeah,
but
it was definitely later.
Minus COVID, how long have you gone? Like, have you ever
had different breaks for different reasons? That's what I'm saying. Like my career, like
when you had your second kid, you were
that was the first time I stopped. And I had to stop for like 2 months or whatever when I had my second kid. But that was like, I was like a year and a half, 2 years in.
Okay.
It doesn't fucking matter if you stop, if you have to stop then. Yeah. Like you barely started anyways. You know what I mean? Like you don't really have any jokes yet that you're really going to do in another year.
Do you think there's any benefit to intentionally stopping even at this point in your career, or say you have more free time? Do you think there's anything beneficial to actually stopping and kind of giving yourself time to write and think about what you're doing, and instead of constantly performing, and you're basically doing the same thing but doing it in private and giving it more time to just kind of think about it instead of kind of going up and putting stuff out there? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's no right or wrong way to do it. But I'm saying is that ever an option to do?
You can't like edit shit without like trying it on stage. Like you can.
Yeah, you won't know if anything works.
Yeah, you gotta like.
And like me, I don't even really like write like that.
Oh, really?
I write on stage. So I get an idea for a joke and I just keep working out the joke until it's how I like it.
Yeah.
But I do all that in shows. Like I don't do it on paper because I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
How it's going to work or how I'm going to like it.
Do you have like bullet points of like an idea of something that you have? Like
that's all I have, dude.
Like,
I don't have any jokes that are like completely written out.
Really?
Yeah. Actually, you know what? Before I did the special, I tried to do that and I wrote out maybe like 5 of my jokes.
Okay.
And that's about it. But there wasn't anything like to change them. It was just like an exercise to like actually write them out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'd never done it. And I just don't, man. If I get a new idea, it's just like a new idea. I just write down the name of the idea. and just remember kind of how I want to work it and see how it goes and just keep messing with it from there. If I like it, I just, keep it and keep doing it until I think it's how I want it. And then it just depends, dude. Like if I have longer sets, then I'll keep doing the stuff that I know, works already.
Yeah.
If I have shorter sets, then I got to pick what I'm doing, as far as like what I'm going to do to work on, of what's like the up and coming jokes, and then like what's like the newer established jokes, like shit like that. So I mean, like you go to a lot of our stuff, you'll see I'm doing like the same shit for about 6 months, and I start moving on to something else, and then incorporate move on to something else. New. Yeah.
Do you find it like hard to, or what's, I guess, your process? Because you said for your special, you had to kind of weave in some of those other jokes, and then you have to have kind of like a beginning, a middle, and an end. Like I would think that having all the ideas that you guys kind of have and like making it that kind of a structure would be like the hardest thing to do, to kind of make a beginning of the story and then like a middle, and like deciding what to make the beginning of a story, and then like kind of making it like one long story, but weaving in all the, you know what I mean? I just look at it like a bunch of spaghetti, and like you have to kind of like, make it all a pattern to kind of fit cohesively for your set. I feel it would be like extremely challenging to do.
Yeah. And when I see other specials now, and where I see like they did it, like I'm like really impressed. Like Jim Jeffries' last one, where he just tells the one story. The whole time. It's really just one bit, but he keeps going off on tangents and then coming back to the bit.
Yeah.
And he just, at the end, he just finishes the bit, and the whole special was like a 90-minute bit.
Yeah.
Basically. But that was fucking cool. And that's what he meant to do the entire time. And it was cool because he stuck with it and just kept weaving it, back in and out together till he had it done.
I always find that fascinating with any like comedy specials that I see, is like, I always watch the special in its entirety and see like how it all is as like a full set. Like how did it start? How are they ending it? And like what's in the middle to keep everything connected,
Yeah.
And it's always like blows my mind, like the people that are able to do that and seamlessly, just like, oh, like I think Chappelle does that too a lot, where he's.
Yeah. Jim Gaffigan does that too. I think he's got he's really well written. I think he's like one of like, and he's like, for the most part clean, which is another whole like level I appreciate. Like I appreciate that more and more as a parent now, where I'm like, I can't play like every, we get footage back from, a show with Mark and shit that I'm trying to watch it with my son. I'm like, hey, you can't watch any of this. I swear too much. Daddy's got a potty mouth. I'm talking about people you love in the wrong way.
Yeah. But to answer your question from before, it's different for everybody, man, as to what works with them taking a break. Because comedy's hard as fuck, dude. And like, I don't recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, I'm terrified when I watch anybody do it. I'm like, I get in I put myself in your guys' position, or even Mickey when he plays before your shows. He's for those who don't know, he's a musician that plays, and I pretend that I'm gonna go on stage and do anything that you guys try to do, and I just get anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, like, because I remember before playing shows, I would have that and be like, okay, it's 10 minutes before I go on stage, and then like your brain starts going, and then like there's just like all these like feelings that come out, that like these sparks start, like you're just like you get in your head, and then it's just like this weird roller coaster.
There is that still like it is like a roller coaster, like before you jump out of a plane or something. Like that. You like as a comic, when you're watching, you see someone else get the light, and you're like, fuck, I got like a minute or two before I go up, and I'm like, and you're prepared, you know what you're gonna do, but they're still kind of like, oh, it's on me now. All these people that have been like, dying, like they're fucking people are like they're killing it and shit, and then all of a sudden like, then it's like, all right, now you do what he did, but like do better, like,
right? Like all those things are like the same for like that happened. Like I felt the same way in music, because the set list. You guys know your set list of like who's before you, who's after. Like when you come down the line, and then they like announce your name, and like next up we got Ben and we got Tony. Like like it's coming. It's like this very, I don't know, like anxious, excited, and you know what you're doing, but again, it's just like it's just like this weird fucking thing. I think that's like a big part of the battle of doing any kind of like live performing, for sure.
I get what you're saying, but that's not like what I meant though. Like, like that part. No, but that's real though. But like, do you still get that? Like, I don't. I've been over being nervous, like from the or after the beginning of comedy. Like
really?
The first year or so.
I don't like freak out, like, but I do get nerves. I still like, especially when it's something like I want to do a new joke, or am I going to make sure I remember how I tweak something and stuff? And that is like, I think, I know you have this, like when you get off stage and you did a joke really well and someone's like, I love that. And you're like, yeah, but I fucking forgot this tag. That's all you think about. That's like the biggest take.
Or I completely forgot to do a joke sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it depends on like what the setting is. It could be like, if it's maybe like a bigger venue and or a smaller venue, but it's all people that you know, then you're going to be like maybe a little bit more nervous, or maybe not, like or like if the act before you was like fucking just murdering it, and you're like I've had that where bands that played before me, I was like, holy shit, like what the fuck am I doing here? And then like they're like, you're up, and I'm like, I don't want to do, like, this is crazy. Like
I did a show in Redondo Beach not too long ago, and there was like McKinley is like a fucking guy running for office. He had like a post-run thing there, drink, like, dinner and wine type thing. So the whole fucking audience is like low-key politicians and shit, and like, city officials and stuff. Yeah. And I was like, great. This is gonna be like, great fucking like, setting for this, do jokes. And then on top of it, he had like, there was like a musical act that was just some real raunchy ass rap. And then it went into comedy. I was like, oh man, this is just like, I have no idea how to gauge this. And I had a really good set, in fact. And it was like, it was, a really fun room. Yeah. But there are those moments where like, because dude, like, bar shows, they're 50-50. They can be fucking awesome. They can be some of the best shows you'll ever do. But they can also be some of the worst shows you'll ever do.
Oh yeah.
We ran one.
It's such a
that was also like that. Like I think
that's kind of like what I was getting toward. Like the performing's actually easy. You know what I mean? Like performing is not a big deal. And like all the shit that's shitty about it is shitty about it. But that's all kind of part of performing, dude. And that's across the board. Whatever you get into as a performer, you deal with like crap like that for going on stage, right? But comedy itself is like a uniquely fucking harsh ass business where like I just wouldn't recommend it to people. Like there's just, especially like just the way it's set up, dude. There's not really like a structure for it where you'll be rewarded for your hard work. You know what I mean? It's like a crapshoot. Yeah. And there's an insane amount of competition. Yeah. So it's like the only people that go through with it or get to like where any of us are in it, are the ones that just stuck with it. Yeah. Because I mean, it's different for different people, I think. But for me, it's like the high of killing. Yeah. And I think that's it probably for a lot of people, but some people are like, just like being part of a community, making friends, stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, like I love crushing, dude. Yeah. Like there's something so cool about that shit to me. Like the way I was describing it before, just like strangers don't know you and then they love you and shit in like 2 minutes of just you talking. Right. So you have to be in it for something like that. Because there's nothing else to it, dude. You don't really get paid shit.
I think there are a lot of comparisons to that in music. Like,
yeah, dude.
Like
it just has to be like a love.
It's different though, because like with music, you don't have like, there's like sets that I've had like, or even like videos that I've had where there's like, you see someone like topple over with laughter and a joke and shit, and you have this different thing where it's like, people enjoying music and kind of vibing out is one thing, but like having that definitive cackle that's on an audio track,
it's like you fucked them up, kind of.
Real. And then that's the cool thing is too, is like, you're exposing someone's like, maybe they're self-conscious about their laugh, but now you pulled it out of them whether they wanted to do it or not and shit. And that's probably the coolest thing, You
get that immediate reaction as a comic, whereas in music, too, it's a delayed until like after the song is done. Then it's like either boo or clapping, or
exactly. So you don't know.
Yeah, so you're kind of
like you get involuntary visceral reaction. Physical
right away, like during the set. Like someone like playing a song and someone doesn't like it, and they're like, boo, like right in the middle of it. It would like fuck you up. So that's why comics. It's definitely
but on
like
the flip side,
it's harder.
Like it might not work, and there might be silence. You know what I mean? And then that's its own
right. True.
It's a fucking trip, man.
So on a different topic. What do you think about the fucking Mike Tyson fight coming up?
Dude, I want him to beat the shit out of that fucking kid. I would love for him to.
Yeah, I heard like Jake Paul had to drop out of it or something.
What? When?
Yeah. I don't know. I heard somebody say that. Like that. He was like,
I don't know.
Like for a health issue or something. Like his
doctor
was letting him do it or something.
I mean, if that's a cautionary thing for him, yeah, I think that's good advice. I mean, would I be surprised if Tyson didn't win? No, because he's fucking old as shit. But like,
no way.
I mean, every fight, I think Jake Paul's gonna lose, man. I think that's part of why people like are paying for the fights, dude.
Well,
and he knows that.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
he's won his past like 2 or 3 boxing matches with UFC
He hasn't
guys.
lost, yeah.
Yeah, he's like done good, but
Yeah.
again, those aren't pro boxers. They're
I know.
UFC guys
I know.
that are like dabbling in box, which is two
Yeah.
different. It's basically two different sports.
Exactly.
So now he's going up against someone that is the undisputed like best heavyweight boxer in the world in the history of boxing, like a fucking murderer.
He's a senior citizen.
Yeah.
He is, but he's like not a regular senior citizen. Like he's someone
I
that
hope
is still.
that he beats the shit out of fucking Jake Paul, and then the Mike Tyson from our childhood comes back, and he's like, because right now he's like this soft, like, hey man,
He is
like,
not soft now. He's
come back to. He's had a whole character arc where like that dude was fucking like mugging old ladies and like, you know, going to boxing. Like he did a whole crazy ass shit. Then he kind of found himself through like, you know,
he was just smoking weed. And then once he wasn't fighting anymore, he started gaining weight and was smoking weed and kind of let himself go a little bit. And then once he got the opportunity to get back in the
saying
ring,
he's a nicer person in general.
I disagree. I think
But boxing's boxing. Man.
Exactly.
I think he is this vicious animal of a fucking monster that's locked up and he can just escape that like whenever he wants, and like thank God like he's been like closed away and kept that
Mike
away
Tyson
from people. He is a fucking maniac that will murder that kid, and it's just gonna be brutal.
So. But he reminds me of the fucking Serrano from Major League, right? The first Major League, he's like this fucking like badass dude. Then he finds Buddha and gets all fucking soft in the second one. And he had to snap out of that, and that's what I'm hoping happens with this Jake Paul shit. He snaps out of it, but I hope he doesn't overcorrect, becomes a psychopath again, and starts trying to bite off ears or whatever.
No, man, I think every fight I'm thinking this fool's gonna lose. Like, how is he gonna beat this guy? And he fucking wins, man. So who knows?
I would just like to see Mike Tyson throw some fucking.
I know I'll be watching it. That's for sure.
And exactly
Netflix.
That's how it works. That's why he's selling out these fights and getting so many fights.
I mean, it's brilliant what Netflix did. So you don't have to pay for it. If you're a Netflix subscriber, you get to watch it for free. And so
for this fight.
So it's no. You can watch it.
Diaz when I had to buy it.
So yeah, if you don't have Netflix, you got to buy the subscription.
I mean, his other fights, dude. You get like.
For sure. But this one's exclusive for Netflix, so it's not pay-per-view or anything. So
so
imagine how much money they're going to get people signing up for the monthly subscription just for that one fight, and then how many of those people are going to be like, just keep it. I'm just going to keep the fucking Netflix. Like, how many millions of people are going to do that? Like, the amount of money that is going to just flood into that company is going to be absolutely ridiculous. Kudos for them to figure that out, but I feel bad for fucking that kid. He's going to just fucking he's going to be so mistaken and so like terrified seeing that man.
I can't wait for the memes afterwards.
I don't know, man. Like I want to think that you're right, and I hope, because I want to, every fight I want him to lose, but I just don't know because he hasn't lost. You know what I mean? And the same shit. Like, you see all the Mike Tyson, sparring videos and everything. It looks like he's gonna fucking fuck him up. Yeah. But I thought Diaz was gonna fuck him up. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that other guy, who was the guy they fought before him? He knocked that dude out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like, I didn't see any of that shit coming, man. I was thinking like, this is the guy from fucking YouTube and shit. You know what I mean? But yeah, who fucking knows, man?
Regardless, it's not like Mike Tyson. He may be a retired boxer, but he still has decades worth of technique and shit like that. And fucking like,
dude, in those sparring videos, he looks.
He's incredible.
Dude,
you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to go near him.
Fuck no. Yeah. I shook his hand at a dispensary once. It's a giant fucking just like a softball mitt. It's just a big fucking hand like that coming at your face.
In Vegas once, man. He is super nice.
Yeah,
the fucking nice, coolest guy, dude. Fucking Mike Tyson, man.
Yeah. I've been like going down these rabbit holes of like watching little clips of him and stuff of like past interviews and like just him describing his childhood and the reason he is the person that he is. That alone is terrifying. Like he is like, I am not like I'm not like Muhammad Ali, and I'm not like this guy. Like, I came from a fucking really shitty area, and I'm like this animal because of that, because of the things that I grew up with and how people treated me. And like I was created they created a monster out of me for growing up in this environment, and like that's always a part of me. And it's just like one little thing just unleashes that rage, and like you can't like train to do that or like anything else. It's just like this instinctive thing that takes over.
You know what's crazy is like I grew up with Mike Tyson the same way, and like this is the craziest motherfucker on earth, right? And when I met him, it was actually a situation like where you could get in a fight with somebody. But it was Mike Tyson, dude, because we were in a club in Vegas, right? And my friend was a DJ, and my friend knew him already, but I didn't know that he knew him already. And I didn't know he was there at the club. And he bumped me and like bumped my girlfriend, right? And I turn and it's fucking Mike Tyson, right? Like, oh shit. He's like, hey man, I'm sorry, right? He's just apologized, puts his hand out. She's like, hey, no, hey man, you're fucking Mike Tyson. Man.
Our champ, no problem,
crazy, dude. Like,
I'm
like damn, dude, I fucking like you're one of my heroes, dude. Like shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, like, and he was
Bummer again.
super cool. And then I like go over to my friend, the DJ, and I'm like, dude, I fucking just met Mike Tyson right now. He's like, yeah, Mike Tyson's here every fucking Friday, man. He's the homie. I was like, okay, shit. But like, yeah, it was like kind of like a surreal moment where it was like
oh,
it was like a, you know, one of those situations. Yeah. It was like, oh shit, this is Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
But at the same time too, it was like, oh shit, this is Mike Tyson.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You're like terrified, but also excited at the same time. You're like,
it was just weird, man. Yeah.
There's this one interview where he's being interviewed by this I forget what network it was. And this is like, I think after he retired, and he's talking about his daughter that had passed away, and he's in the middle of like having this conversation with this interviewer, and like you see his face change when the guy asks him the question about his daughter, and he's like, you have to leave. Like, you have to leave now. Like, and he looks like it, like it changes. Like, he changes into Mike Tyson that's going to kill you. And like, you get like I'm watching it and I'm like, holy shit. Like, you see the change happen. Like, that is what that kid is going to be in the fucking ring with. Like, are you crazy? Yeah. That's just something that doesn't, it's man. Just terrifying.
Well, and the kid keeps doing taunting shit, like fucking making like mock pictures of him. And like, just like a whole bunch of shit. It's like, bro, you're fucking picking the wrong dude to fucking like, you know, antagonize. Like the Mike Tyson's, again, he's very like zen right now, but like, yeah, you fucking like slap in the back of the head or do some kind of shit. Like he's a fucking Iron Mike Tyson.
Well, they're friends like outside of all that. Like they're like hang out and like getting drunk together and shit. Like they're like buddies. So there's definitely like a part of me that there's definitely like, you know, leading and making this a bigger thing than, you know, like that they're enemies.
I was hoping that he was just going to get his ass fucking handed to him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
I think that all goes to the wayside though. The second that bell rings and they're actually in there and they're fighting, because he has so much more to lose than what that Jake Paul kid does. Like he has like his whole reputation on the line. If he gets knocked out or punched or gets like, looks like anything like, so he's going to come at him like a fucking lion. Like
in
he's just going
to interviews leading up to this too. He seems to grasp that. You know what I mean? Like he knows. He's like, this is gonna be different for him.
Yeah.
So that makes you feel good about it.
Yeah.
But again, and especially just with boxing in general.
Yeah.
Who the fuck knows, dude? Like boxing's so fucking fixed all the time.
Yeah.
Like,
it's funny.
I'm just happy that fucking Mayweather's time is over. That shit was fucking whack, dude. Like just the fact that like, that's the interesting thing about boxing, where it's like you can just basically, as long as you, the reigning champ, find someone to fight, you can get your own production company, and like everything he was like, it was Mayweather, you know, top to bottom. Like it was all his shit. So it's like this weird like entity inside professional boxing where you like cherry pick someone that he can just kind of dance around the ring with until like he wears them out and shit, and then just fucking go in for the kill. And I just wasn't like, you know, you growing up with like fucking Tyson. I understand one's heavyweight and one's fucking like featherweight or the fucking lightweight or whatever it is. But like the actual art of the technique is like, I don't know. I feel like that's like, if I was ever going to box, I would want to be a boxer like Mike Tyson. Just fucking bell rings, go in there, just beat the shit out of somebody and fucking like take the hits that you can and stuff. And then, you know, get it done as soon as possible. Fucking,
I mean,
like,
I agree. And it was annoying watching how Mayweather fought, but like, that was how he figured out boxing. He's like, brilliant. You don't lose if you do this.
Yeah, he's really smart.
And he didn't duck anybody. You know what I mean? He fought everybody.
Fucking he was ducking Pacquiao forever, man. That should have been a fight when they were both in their prime. He was fucking dodging that shit, dude. Yeah. And that motherfucker would have fucking like knocked him. That's why I feel like his whole record's bullshit, man.
I don't know, man. I don't know if Pacquiao would have beat him. But
Mayweather's just a very strategic fighter. But it's
frustrating to watch. It's like if a team won the World Series from like this bunting and shifting.
Yeah, I was gonna
all the time. Like every play they just bunted and shifted and stole and bunted and shifted. And, you know what I mean? It's like, you're just like, fuck this shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No dunks. You're like, come on,
dude.
I want to see a dunk.
Yeah. Or like some like super gimmicky football offense.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean? Yeah, dude. Like I remember like there was like a high school that did that. Like they were like, they won like 150 games in a row or something, some team from up north. And they would like line up but they would only go in their stance for like the minimum time that you had to be in a stance. So it was like just for a second. So all their snaps go.
Oh,
you know what I mean? They never like set for plays and shit. It was like weird, and they do all these like weird formations and shit. You know what I mean? I don't know why I brought that up. It's like, that's like the equivalent of the Mayweather style.
It's like
of
technically
like fighting to me. Like
winning.
it'll work. You can't beat it, but I don't want to watch it.
Yeah. It's not as fun to watch.
Yeah, like, you ruined it.
What else we got going on in the news? What else is entertaining or interesting to talk about? There's so much. Last time you were on, we were talking politics.
Oh yeah, no. That hasn't got any better, you guys.
No,
that has not gotten any better.
Yeah. I don't know if you were trying to like tap back in on that or whatever. If you had topics to discuss.
I mean, Eric always tries to shoehorn that shit in every time we're doing anything.
I just like to piss
we're
Tony off.
at line in fucking like McDonald's, like, hey, what are your thoughts on Biden and Trump?
Yeah, right.
No one gives a fuck.
No, I mean, I just follow it. That's it. Always interested.
You don't just follow. You fucking like live, eat, breathe that shit. And again, too, it's just because it's all new to you. Like you haven't really just realized it's all.
Yeah, that's what we talked about.
Fascism, fascism is new to me, and it's new to you too. You're just not as interested in
dude,
fascist.
I'm telling you, you haven't even gone back.
You're like, I voted for fucking back when in high school, man, and you're not even voting now. It's like, yeah, well, none of that shit mattered. We're not like on the verge of a dictatorship and losing our democracy. Now we are. So you voted when it didn't matter. Now I'm voting when it does matter.
Always voted.
And then you're like, yeah, well, it doesn't matter because you didn't vote like back in the day. So it's like,
what you don't understand though is the fact that like, you know, there was that same trickery and bullshit back then. It's just it's gotten worse. It always gets worse, but like. To act so brand new, I'm like, this is preposterous. I cannot believe that our country isn't like falling into shambles. Like it's been in shambles. It's fucking been in shambles the entire time.
Yeah,
we've been of legal voting age at least, and
even when we were
back.
Kids, pretty much all the presidents have sucked.
Yeah,
that we've had like ever.
Dude, you look at like the fucking like the Reagan administration and shit like that, and like taking
terrible.
solar panels. Yeah, just like that dude fucked up.
Both Bushes, terrible.
Yeah, but
the second Bush worse than Trump.
Yeah, like Reagan's like the initiator as to like the lack of the middle class and shit. You know, like and then it's just been like people pushing that agenda and shit. And every couple of years, you put someone else in like a typer, and then they fucking fuck it up that way. Now go left and go right, and it's just that type of fucking like moving the putty around.
Yeah, but this is like the typewriter is like off the fucking like the track. Yeah. It's like it's like and like everyone's like it's just the same as old. It's all bullshit. It's like it is all bullshit. But this is
inevitable.
Like,
it is the end of the movie. It's gonna happen eventually. And if we're lucky, we're gonna get another 4 years. If not, this is the end. But either way, you got the 2-minute light. Your shit's about to happen. This is it. Like, I'm not nervous. I'm fucking
because it's like there's been so much bullshit in like 50, 60, 70 years. There's just so much horseshit piling on to everybody.
Let Rome burn,
and everything just bleeding the like people at the bottom dry.
Yeah,
that there's like nothing going to be nothing left. You know what I mean? It's got to collapse on itself and either like reset in a good way or just be fucked.
Yeah. I was listening to this podcast on like presidents and shit, and the first one I listened to was on fucking like George Washington, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny that I didn't know a lot about that guy. Like Shane Gillis talks about him in the fucking like the museum and shit, and the special and shit like that. So like the thing about his teeth, everyone knows about his fucking wooden teeth and slave teeth and lead teeth and all that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I didn't know that like that dude was like broke. He worked for like the fucking like he was obviously working for the British Army for a while, and then like just retired, and then was just kicking around as a farmer. Married fucking like Martha Washington, who was rich, acquired all these assets and shit. Like I forget how many acres, and then like 80 slaves. So you had like just a flock of fucking slaves, and then was really adamant about like writing in like, hey, just so you know, I want to make sure that these slaves still do slave shit, and we're gonna still be rich white people shit, and just like there's a whole bunch of shit. I'm like, our country's been all fucked up since the get go. And like the guy that like everyone's like, that's the best president. He was the number one. Like he didn't want to be president. Like he kind of got forced into it. But then like when it came to the actual revolution and fighting for that, like he was like such an honorable guy. He did not take a salary as much as he liked money. What he did was spend his own money. He spent his own money. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. This country's founded by these fucking people. And then gave a bill to the government to get paid back. But this motherfucker was like spending like $400,000 like a year, like just crazy. Like back then, like this isn't inflated, wasn't adjusted for time. Like he was spending like millions of dollars a quarter on his own fucking food, eating the finest fucking duck and veal, all this crazy ass shit while being like, you know, in war times and stuff. And everyone's like, God, what a good guy. We should have him run the country. And that's why we're at this point, you know, 200 plus years later, which has always been.
Yeah, it's definitely, I agree. It's like a slow burn of like just fucking
been corrupt. And then people have been finding ways to get through corruption and shit like that. And like, Washington was the only president that wasn't in a party. During his presidency, there was some like, you know, people like, I think John Adams was his vice president, that had like some kind of rifts. And then I forget, like Jefferson and Adams kind of like were back and forth and shit like that. So those two inadvertently forged these two sides, like, and that was where like our parties came from. It's not like they're literally like, I'm this type, but they're just having this like, hey, there was a polarity that happened during his presidency that was like that for the rest of the time we've been a country. But we've never added a third party, which we need immensely. That would solve so many fucking problems. But
who knows if it would solve problems.
Ben's like,
solve problems or not, dude.
I don't give a shit.
You have 4 parties, 5. Everybody pretty much wants the same shit. Like when it comes down to it, you know what I mean? It's just,
it's like marketing.
Everyone wants to really guns and abortions.
Falls for bullshit on some varying levels of degree, and it keeps them from, you know, the main shit that everybody agrees sucks. You know what I mean? Everybody pays taxes that you don't see back enough.
Yeah.
You don't see services or anything for it. It just goes to other people's pockets, dude.
Yeah.
I would love to see just one politician run on the fucking platform of like, I will show you where your tax money goes. I will fucking, because like
they already show you, dude.
They don't
you
show
know
you
what I mean?
shit.
They just
it's all gray area stuff and just like
fucking army, dude.
Yeah.
You know
I bet a lot of that. I bet you're right about that.
I'd say your federal taxes.
It's almost $1 trillion.
Where my state taxes going? You know what I mean? Like where's that shit go?
Yeah.
Like because we got fucking extremely high state.
There
taxes
are countries that break it all down to like.
They should. We should beat that country.
Just if a politician just gave shit to people, and people always say, "Oh, you just want free handouts." Like, nah, motherfucker, I've been paying taxes.
Yeah.
I'm 46. Like I've been paying taxes since I was fucking 17, dude.
Yeah.
Like that's what it's for.
Yeah.
It's supposed to come back to us. It's not supposed to be like for defense contractors to take fucking $10 million to fucking put a toilet somewhere.
During like all the was the stimulus checks and all that kind of shit during the pandemic. Like the whole fucking like the right was like, well, where do you think this money's coming from? It's like
us.
Well,
I paid into it.
It's the
I
rest
fucking
of
did that.
Where's
Where
the rest
all
of this
the
money?
money
Because it
comes
seems
from?
like the power's still on, and everyone's got a little bit extra bread in their pocket. Where's the rest of this shit? Because like this is the first time we've really rolled out stimulus checks, right?
Yeah.
And we've been able to do it for a very long time, apparently. But like, that means you're gonna have one less dinner roll on your fucking table if you just all the politicians just give us a little bit of fucking.
And then when you realize, like, like how much of the budget is allotted to things that don't serve people, right? And then how much it costs for everybody to have like free healthcare, for there to be like universal school lunches, you know what I mean? Just or like even like UBI, just all that stuff. It's like a fraction of the fucking what they already spend on
the military shit,
missiles and shit that we just waste or lose or blow up.
Yeah.
What was it? Like the Pentagon couldn't account for like $1 trillion or something?
Yeah. Like,
or $1.5 trillion.
They say like we don't.
That would solve all of society's ills. A tenth of that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like any group of politicians could really band together and just fucking be heroes and be fucking superheroes.
Yeah.
And just say, hey, you know, there's no more of these fucking bills that you don't really have to have. We've just made you have this whole time because we've been giving the money to these people instead. You know what I mean? The money's already fucking there.
I would love to see full transparency on the lottery system in this country, because the government wins every week that there's a lottery. They win. If it's $1 billion, $100 million, they win. They get half of that. Every time there's a lottery, they get half of that money basically.
Yeah.
So where does that money go? And where does it get spread? That would be just in that alone. If there was transparency in that.
Those commercials. Well.
The $100 million of commercials, but that's like the biggest like grift of the government that's in everybody's face, that everyone's like, yeah.
Dude, there's
like,
a bunch of those, man.
It's so crazy though.
Yeah, and it's all like right into everybody's noses, and they want everybody to just think that everything's a conspiracy, you know?
Schools, yeah.
Everything is fucking, you know, this deep state and shit, and it's like you really think you're that important where everybody's just trying to spy on you to do all this fucking. It's just companies, dude. It's just corporations, man.
Yeah,
like the simplest explanation is the real explanation, dude.
Yeah.
There's just evil shit that's like right under your nose, and you just eat it.
Yeah.
and accept it because you think there's nothing that can be done about it. And that's exactly how it's supposed to be set up.
Well, that's like the thing with the school systems, like with colleges and stuff. People are just like, well, I just have to take out $100,000 loan to go to college, and that's just that's what it costs now, and so I'll just do it. Like with anything else, you're just like, well, that's just the price, and there's no beating around it.
I need surgery. You better sell my house.
Yeah,
if I even have a house.
Yeah, go fund me or a fucking.
People just like accept that, and it's like. Yeah, it's super.
Not,
it doesn't have to be that way. It wasn't that way before.
Right.
It's only that way
just
now.
slowly like got that way.
In the meantime,
like,
everybody's just worried about fucking, like trans people or just other shit.
Yeah,
to,
like eggs are $1 more or some bullshit. Where it's
all
like,
that shit though is all part of it though, man. Everything. That's another thing too. Yeah, like in the last 5 years, everything doubled in price.
Yeah,
everything's more expensive. It's not like just gas or eggs.
Right.
Every single fucking bill you have is way more than it was before.
Right.
Not even like a little bit more.
Because of the inflation.
It's way fucking more, dude.
And then just because there's inflation, people are like, oh, when inflation goes back down, the prices will drop. That's not how any of that works. Like the prices will stay that way. They don't deflate the price because then you get a recession and then you can't do that. So the prices will just be where they're at forever. The only thing that's going to change to help any of that is that we as the workers need to make more money to make up that difference, that gap. It's not like the prices are going to come back down to like what
then
they
you
were.
become that point of like it becomes like Mexico where there's like it costs 1,000 pesos for a fucking can of soda. Do you know what I'm saying? Where it's just like it's $1,000 now for everything. Where it's when you travel abroad, like just it's you're taking your minimum wage and now $5 is the new $1. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's all relative. It's like a mathematical equation.
But the point I was trying to make was like that's where the government is supposed to help and step in and like say, hey, it's illegal to just gouge people like this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because like most of that inflation they found it was just price gouging, dude.
For sure.
It's because they can do it because they can get away with it, man. Because nobody stops them. Everybody thinks like the government's like some evil fucking thing and like they suck. And it's only because they suck now. You know what I mean? Or have sucked for so long.
Yeah.
They're not supposed to suck. The idea of the government is supposed to be to protect the citizens.
Yeah.
So they can live good lives and pay more taxes. So there's more money for the fucking government.
Right.
Yeah, so they can give the money back to the citizens.
Right.
And then, you know what I mean? Society's better. You invent shit. You know what I mean? Technology expands.
Yeah.
You discover things because people aren't only worried about fucking their next meal.
Right. Trying to put a roof over their head.
You actually have built a good society. And it's not like it's like hard to do. Everything's already ingrained in that. It's just the fucking money gets stolen.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Dude.
Just line their pockets.
The money gets stolen and they just want everybody to just fight over other shit except saying, hey, where the fuck are my taxes?
Right.
You know what I mean? Fucking lame, dude.
Did you do your taxes yet?
Fuck no. I'm way behind.
Never.
Yep. They're coming after
extension. Yeah.
They're coming after. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It sucks getting older and like having to think about all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, dude. And it sucks like having all of it be clear to you because you don't think about it as much when you're younger. You don't like worry.
Yeah, you don't give a shit. You're just like,
and you just think that's the way the world is, dude. And you don't care. And then you're like, wait a minute, the world is only this way because of this.
Yeah, because
we could have, and they're just doing it.
Yeah,
and we could have just not done it.
Yeah,
like
well, it's funny because I feel like the generations before us, like. I don't know. I don't know. I can't don't quote me on this, but I just don't feel like universal health care was really a thing that people thought about and it being a viable option. Right. And then it sounds like, oh, it's like communist type talk. And it's just like,
but it also wasn't a fucking $1 million to have surgery.
Exactly. But the thing is weird. So again, when Obamacare was rolled out, like it was basically, we're going to provide this. And if you don't do it now, you have to start getting penalized and not having health insurance. So up until that point, if you didn't have health insurance, you didn't get penalized on your taxes. But once there was an option for how you can get affordable health care, because if everyone buys it, it's cheaper. And that never actually worked that way. It's just basically like, we're going to give you another reason how we're going to fucking fuck you on taxes if you don't buy health care from one of these companies and shit. Mm-hmm. And there was like a, if Romney would have won, there was a separate, rollout with Romney Care. It was exactly the same package by the healthcare companies that were like vetting both candidates going into that election and shit. That
the one was based on the other.
Yeah, they're exactly the same thing.
Romney had already done it in Massachusetts or whatever. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying though. Is it was like an easy cash grab, which is like, hey, what if we make them get health insurance, and then if they don't, we get more money from them. And then it's just like, well, you didn't give us what we wanted. We wanted the fucking universal health care. Yeah. Now you're fucking like docking us money. Because I remember the first couple of years, it was minimal. It was a slow intro where it was like, all right, first year you didn't have health insurance. Now that it's a mandatory thing, $250. I'm like, I'll gladly pay $250 for a year for not having health insurance because I'm not paying $250 a month, right? So I'm save myself, you know, $1,000 there at least. And
Yeah,
then
but they also like expanded like Medi-Cal or Medicaid or whatever for all the states. So
eventually,
well, that was part of the
Yeah.
bill too.
Yeah.
So it's like you got taxed for not having health care,
yeah,
but it was also like you could just have health care if you sign up for it.
Yeah.
in
You
a
know what I
certain
mean?
in a certain like pay bracket and stuff like that. Like,
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like if you made more money, then you paid a little. You paid
no,
more,
but it's
you
just
know?
like, again, too, where like at the time when that happened, I was still in my like, because I actually got in my motorcycle accident without having health insurance.
Yeah.
So, but because like I was on my parents' insurance. My mom was a teacher until I think I was 26. And I fell off that and I was like, I don't need your fucking insurance. And then it was like, you got to buy insurance. I'm like, you know, fucking tell me how to live my life. And it's like, and because of that, I kind of lived a little bit more of like a guided path because I'm not trying to jump off buildings and shit like that anymore like I was as a kid that I had insurance. I lived a little bit safer life and stuff in turn.
Yeah, but you're still riding a motorcycle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Yeah.
But that's another thing too, man. It's like there's a lot of people like that. They're like, "Fuck, I'm young. I don't need insurance and shit."
Right.
Yeah.
And they break an arm and it's like 20 grand and they're like,
those are
I'm
people
homeless
the most
now.
reckless fucking people, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's part of what drives up the cost is like those people that can't pay still get all the surgery. You know what
Right.
I mean?
Right.
I didn't get any surgery. I actually had, it was all bootleg fucking
You
operation.
still got
like
a broken arm.
Still got a fucking pop
What,
in my hip.
what do you think about Bernie Sanders' proposal of a 32-hour work week?
Dude, again, that's a whole thing like where it's like everything is kind of bullshit. Because you could have a 32-hour work week. We just don't. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's like everything. That's like part of the same thing. My theory with everything that's wrong is like, it's just, we're just doing it because we all just think we have to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? We just accept it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's how we got to 40-hour work week. You could totally have 32-hour work week with the same pay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it would be beneficial, man, if people could be home with their kids more.
Yeah. Yeah. It would definitely ease a lot of that.
Same thing like how
struggle.
UBI would help. You know what I mean? If people
Yeah.
just knew that they didn't have to be so dependent on their job. But that's what they want. That they want people to be completely dependent on their employers.
Right.
Yeah. Most of the policy now is like to make sure that the workforce stays at a certain point.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's why they're trying to force people to have babies. That's why they don't really do anything about immigration. They need people. And they need people to do shitty jobs.
And then hanging insurance over their heads of whether or not they'll have insurance by doing those shitty jobs keeps people there that typically maybe wouldn't have them because they're like, oh fuck, if I don't do this shitty job, I'm gonna lose my health insurance. And
Absolutely,
I have a
dude.
family, or I have, if I have a pre-existing
Absolutely. That's
condition.
why they always tie insurance to your
Right.
job. Yep. They're trying to give them leverage in other ways to like not have to pay you more.
Yeah.
Yep. Which is why wages are, stagnant for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw like a graph and it showed like the wages and like the housing prices from like the 50s to like now. And it's like the wages just keep going like this. And like the housing prices just like, it goes up and you're like, oh, that's pretty high. And then it like expands and it goes like up another like foot or whatever. And it keeps going. And you're like, what the fuck?
All of those graphs and charts from like the last 5 years and up, it's like up a fucking cliff, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's
You know what I
funny
mean?
because
Where it's like,
those are,
okay,
like,
everything's got exponentially like worse than ever in history.
Two major purchases, car, home. And those are the ones that are fucking like tenfold of what they cost back when our parents were kids. Where it's just like, you could fucking have two actual paid for cars and a home for less than $100K back when like, our parents were buying homes and shit like that. And you couldn't buy anything for $100,000, car or home, this day and age. You know what I mean? Like that's fucking crazy.
Except TVs. TVs are the only thing that got lower in price and bigger in size to keep people at home and stupid. That's funny. That's interesting that there's that like that's the only thing. And back in the day, like if you had a big TV, it was like, damn, you're rich. And now it's like everybody's got like a fucking giant ass TV. They're like $200, Walmart.
We're surrounded by big TVs.
Yeah,
literally staring at a giant
big
TV,
TVs everywhere, fucking giving them out. Man,
it's funny.
Yeah, it's true, dude.
What a wild ride of a podcast this was today.
Yeah.
We're talking comedy specials, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, politics. Thank you, Ben. Thanks for participating,
we
Tony.
indulged Eric.
Yeah.
He feels good. He feels
Once
like
a week I gotta scratch
now.
that itch.
I gotta get it out when I can have a conversation.
You're doing
about
better. I just, I still think you're like delusionalized to think that like the shit's not going to be shitty, regardless of the outcome. Regardless of the outcome, come this fall, right or like the week of my birthday, we'll figure out the fate of this country. A fucking goddamn patriot born on election day.
It's just so crazy, dude. Because like, yeah, man, it just seems like the most obvious, easy thing. Just pass the shit that people want. Everyone will love you. It doesn't fucking matter. Nobody really, like, people care about liberal, conservative, Democrat, blah, 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 now. You know what I mean? But when it comes down to it, everybody wants the same shit, dude. And if you fucking give it to us, we're gonna like you and fucking vote for you, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know
You know
why
what I
they
mean?
don't.
Nobody seems to fucking grasp that or have the balls to just fucking do it. You know,
Like, why don't they just like idiocracy like a ballot and have like, do you want universal health care? Check this box. Do you want like all the things that we all want as like a society, and don't put it who's on what side of it or anything. Just have those questions and be like, check the boxes that you want that shit for.
Yeah,
and that's it. And then you just hand it in. You have no idea who you're voting for.
Like a
all you know
survey.
is the policies that you're voting for.
Yeah.
And
How are
that's
we
it.
doing?
Like, why do you put anybody's name on it? Because that like blurs the like their influence of like why they're gonna do it.
Yeah, dude, because all it is now is like, it's not even like policy based anymore. It's just like, one guy doesn't want to go to jail. He's saying anything he can to try to stay out of jail because he just doesn't want to die in fucking jail, right? And the other guy is like, you don't want this, you don't want that guy.
Right.
He should go to jail.
Right.
And that's it,
And
dude.
he's like, where am I? Where am I?
And it's like, if you don't vote for this guy, the guy that should be in jail is going to stay out of jail and he's going to be in charge of your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay. And that's it, dude. That's like all they bought. That's how bad the system has gotten down to, is like
100%.
It's not only do we have two shitty choices, because we've had two shitty choices like
forever.
Last batch of elections and shit, as far as I can remember.
Yeah.
But now we literally have the guy headed for prison. Vote for me or this guy won't go to prison.
Yeah.
And that's it, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, yeah, dude, he's just gonna say anything, and that's all what he's already doing, is just saying anything. You know what I mean?
Dude,
and everybody's already
the fact
on his
that he had
side.
the fucking
Just,
insurrectionists like sing the national anthem and shit is just like, bro, you are so extra. It's so extra.
it's so embarrassing, dude.
It is, and it's just
You know
like,
what I mean?
and the thing is like, I don't think he's like that demonic enough to fucking be like, I don't think it's his idea. I think it's all his little yes men and minions that are like, oh yeah, you'll get the fucking like, you're gonna get the reaction that you want, and you're gonna get the fucking the attention of the masses and stuff, and like, you know, conjure up those people in that corner. But like, I don't think that fucking moron is the one that's like coming up with these ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't like. He's not a fucking smart guy. He's a fucking idiot. He's a cocky like.
None of them are good ideas, anyways.
No.
though.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like the people, like you ever seen like his staff, dude? Like his actual like brain trust.
Some
and his
My
team?
Pillow guy, like
Exactly.
Yeah,
shitty,
the
like
Stephen
third
Miller
rank,
guy.
fucking like
You ever seen that
Newsmax
dude,
host and
Stephen
shit.
Chung, who's like his communications, this big fat Chinese guy.
Yeah.
There's
It's just incompetent.
They're just all embarrassing guys, man. They're just lame, dude.
Yeah.
Like the whole thing is lame. All the MAGA celebrities are just fucking so corny, dude.
Ted Nugent,
And
Kid
it's just
Rock.
like so
Wait a
crazy
second.
that like
You mean to tell me
to be a
Chachi's
poor
like,
person and think like this fucking dude is for you, you know, out of all fucking people, man. You know what I mean? Like it's so retarded, dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Well, on
That's
that
exactly
note,
the sad note we want to end our
so
podcast on.
retarded.
Yeah, exactly.
That sums up this podcast. So retarded.
Yeah, man.
Well, Ben, where can people find you? I know you have the special coming out on April 1st.
Special
on
is coming out on YouTube April 1st, April Fool's Day. It's called Full Custody, FOOL Custody. It's going to be on the Grande Comedy channel on YouTube. Grande Comedy was the production house that did all the Enter No specials. All the Latino comedy specials on HBO were all from this production house. That's who produced this special. Now YouTube is where all the specials are going. That's like the home for fucking comedy now. There were like, I was showing you guys earlier, there's like almost 30 specials from like big comics that are all being released like just this month on YouTube.
Yeah.
So that's where you can find it. It is a half-hour special. It's, you know, it looks beautiful. I'm very happy with how it was shot, and it's, you know, basically like perspective of fucking being a single parent right now in 2024 with Generation Alpha. You know what I mean? I barely learned that it was Generation Alpha.
I know. Like
You know what I
last week
mean?
I found that out, yeah.
I say Gen Z in my bits before that.
I would say
'cause that's
fucking.
all
I
knew.
mean, why that is like the biggest candidate for Generation Beta. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna give them the Alpha title? Like get the fuck out of here!
Went all the
None of
way
these
around,
kids
dude.
can fucking start a fire in the woods or any of that kind of shit. Like
Hey,
you're crazy.
Who knows, man? But we're the ones that are sitting here saying that it's all going to end on their watch, right?
Yeah.
So maybe they're the ones that restart it at our the fucking new version of alphas because they
Get a
get
couple of
done
alpha dog kids.
what nobody else could get done.
Yeah,
Because that's what we're all complaining about right now is that we're all just
Maybe-
under the
yeah,
third
bullshit.
parties, health
But I'm
insurance.
saying maybe that generation is the one that is going to see through the bullshit the whole time because now
Maybe-
it's like over, dude.
Maybe this podcast planted some seeds in
little
those
Greta
alpha
Thunbergs.
brains, and it's just fucking gonna start spreading.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Alpha brand, your buddy, huh? The Rogue plug.
No rogue plug. Fuck.
No more friends.
Yeah. So, anyways, it's like, yeah, just a bunch of jokes about that, like how it is raising kids now, or raising kids on your own as a dad, raising boys as a dad, and just like the stuff you get into, how stupid I am. You know what I mean? It's a lot of fun, man, and it was cool to like have it like connect with people, and I hope that it just reaches more people and connects with them, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely enjoyed a lot, like it for sure when you filmed it, and
Thanks,
I'm
man.
excited to watch it again on
Sweet.
On YouTube April 1st. So make sure
All right.
everybody checks it
I
out.
also enjoyed it.
All right. And if you want clips and everything, you can follow me on Instagram at Ben9Humor, Ben number 9 humor, like benign tumor. That's my handle. It's a clever handle. It's a good one to have. And yeah, I post clips on there, all the time. Check them out. Got a show with Tony that we do once a month right next door. Follow us and
Living the
fucking
dream.
Come and see us, man. Yeah.
Ben, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks
I
for having me, dude.
appreciate that,
Yeah,
man.
thanks, man.
Yeah.
Like
Always a good hang.
funny guy. Check his special out.
Where can people find you, Tony Klein?
On this great couch once a week, and at Tony Klein Comedian on Instagram. Definitely have a lot. I just really am excited about your special, man. It's like
Thanks, dude.
been a long time coming.
Yeah.
Eric, where can people find you, Mr. Negative?
Can find me watching Ben's special on April 1st on YouTube
Yeah,
for
buddy.
sure. And then if anybody wants to watch some clips of this or watch this podcast in its entirety, every Monday we post the full video on YouTube, and then the full audio clip on Spotify. And then we do short 60-second clips throughout the week on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So if you want to kind of see the cliff notes of what we've talked about on our podcast, you can check those out. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go to theericandtonyshow.com, buy a beer mug or a t-shirt, and sit at home and watch us talk shit to each other about stuff we don't know anything about. So you can go to my Instagram, ericrustler.com, to follow me on my personal account. And other than that, thank you for stopping by and watching this podcast. We look forward to disappointing you next time. Bye.
Right on.
Peace.
Bye.